Hello, I'm Brian O'Keefe, and I'd like to welcome you to Designing Blended Experiences, Laugh Traders. Allow me to extend a personal invitation as we explore the design of seamless user experiences that blend digital and physical spaces together. So let's get started. In this presentation, we'll have some introductions, talk about Laugh Traders, our design fictions. We'll discuss what are blended experiences and how we evaluate them, and we'll conclude with a summary of our contributions. We are a group of grassroots researchers who've come together to continue the work of our mentor and friend, David Benyon. We look at the role of designing blended experiences in various contexts. In our context today, we're talking about the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, a massive festival that goes over the entire month of August that brings together thespians from all over the world. And during this festival, our researchers are there to study. Now, during the festival, we found three problems. Performers do not have measurable feedback from the audience. The visitors can be skeptical about ambiguous, hyped-up comic reviews. And the festival is littered with wasteful print flyers and advertisements. So let's dive into Laugh Traders. So who we have here is we have Mike and Stuart, who are visitors, and we have Isabel, that is the comedian. So Mike is looking at these advertisements. He's not really sure. Okay, everyone's saying that everyone's so great, but Stuart is convinced that this is going to be the show for them to watch. So Stuart brings Mike over to the box office to get to buy their tickets. However, they're told that there's a mobile service called Laugh Traders where they'll gain access to their shows with some bonus features. Now, in the waiting line, Mike is still skeptical, but he's able to pass through the ticketing with ease. However, during the show, all there is the show, and Mike and Stuart simply enjoy. At the end of the show, Laugh Traders has aggregated their bio data to review when they laughed, when they didn't laugh, and provide an overall rating of Isabel's performance. In this case, Stuart, who thought this show would be amazing, was like, yeah, it's all right. And but Stuart, who was quite skeptical, thought the show was really funny. As they leave the comic venue, there's an opportunity for advertisements, and based on your bio data, you can advertise different shows depending on what your interests are. But more importantly, Laugh Traders collects the bio data in aggregate, the laugh data in aggregate, to examine when the highs and lows were of the show. Now, Isabel that night can go back to her studio and write her script and tweak it and adjust right for her next show. So, what are blended experiences, and how do we need to think about them? So in 2006, David Benyon had a book called Designing with Blends, and he discussed how blended spaces are an extension of mixed reality spaces, but a level of physical place rather than product. Blended spaces are spaces where physical space and digital space have been carefully co-designed. There's a lot in the paper that talks about the literature, but essentially there are three characteristics of blended experiences. Digital interactions, either directly or indirectly, form relationships between people and physical places. 2, people are situationally present in physical spaces, while the digital space sustains the illusion of non-mediation, which is a lot of presence theory in there. Number 3, through interaction, people discover and create new meaning of physical places. Now, to apply those three characteristics, we created the Designing Blended Experiences tool. And more about it is in the paper, but it brings together the work that David and I have been doing around blended spaces frameworks and Benford's work on trajectories model. And the images on the right are ways in which we traverse the transitions between digital and physical spaces and back again, and how they fold into a blend. Now, if you want more about this information, we have another paper called Design Blended Experiences Plant Pals that goes into the nitty-gritty of all these different elements I just talked about, or introduced, excuse me. But we're here to evaluate these blended experiences, or at least begin to understand how to evaluate them. Essentially, what this says is we've had 58 participants. Again, a lot of the information is in the paper, but we had an evaluation study through a 7-point Likert scale. And what we were looking at factors and differentials. We've identified 3 factors: relevance, that talks the ontology of things; complexity, which talks about the topology and relationships; and attraction, which talks about agency and people. Those being the underpinnings of the the blended experiences framework. Now, there's all these different factors that go into it, but we won't have time for all of them. We'll sample a few. So the relevance factor is looking at how we go from physical space to digital space, and let's looking at the natural differential. So in this case, this person really thought that this highlighted how the technology naturally behaves, and in aggregate, the folks thought this natural and unnatural was somewhat natural. However, we want to look what possibly didn't work so well, and what we found out was laugh theaters might add pressure to a social situation because your enjoyment is being measured or evaluated, right? So that could be something to explore further. Now, when we get into complexity, we're looking at going from digital space back to the physical space, and so let's look how that works. So we looked at seamlessness and obtrusiveness, and overall, the folks thought that complexity was somewhat seamless, right? One person said Laugh Traders was seamless and easy to understand where the characters are going and experience the app. Okay. But another person thought Laugh Traders is a non-intrusive idea. However, it presents concern about data accuracy. Now clearly that's not exclusive to blends. That's a big topic, but that did come up. Now let's look at attraction and the blend, if you will, and we're looking at relaxed versus intense. So this person said, I really enjoyed how the story was very laid back, even a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but still educated the reader about what was important and how that talks about how we address some of the problems. However, another person thought the illustration depicts people enjoying the moment, not on their phones. I like that this app doesn't take away from the moment. And that principle is at the core of how we design blended experiences and why we design them in the first place. So in summary, we have 4 contributions. The first one is the tool itself and how it was built, how it helped us build Laugh Traders and help us make those design decisions. Second contribution is the blends evaluation tool. Again, this is preliminary, but we looked at these 3 factors: relevance, complexity, and attraction. There's more about this in the paper, so please read. Through the quantitative and quantitative data, we're able to have a nice design critique where we were able to tease out additional ideas to explore in the future. So another person had a great point. What if you're a kind of person who doesn't laugh but still thinks it's funny? Well, how does that work, right? Where does the blend work there, or doesn't, right? So we can look at the opportunities to address that. The fourth and final contribution is we uncovered a new traversal. Benford has physical to virtual transversals, but we needed a virtual to physical transversal as we move from the digital space back into the physical space. So I think that's it. I think we have a finished presentation here. I really hope you enjoy it. And I'd like to wish you happy blending and be well, my friends. Thank you.